I love the Gypsy Kings. Perfect music for making Pico de Gallo. Hey guys, Mark Garcia from chefmarkgarcia.com. How are you? Got a lot of responses back on my video recipe I did for Tim Ferriss's slow carb diet, the morning breakfast. One of the items that I mentioned in there was the Pico de Gallo, and I had some very nice comments. Thank you, by the way, for those of you who wrote into that. But some of the comments were, Mark, can you show us how to make the Pico de Gallo? Either folks had never heard what that was, or they weren't happy with maybe the salsas that are also recommended for the breakfast. So Pico de Gallo, depending on which legend you listen to from Mexico, the slang term is that it means the beak of the rooster. Also, the colors that you'll see, they represent the Mexican flag, and there's some kind of PG and some X-rated folklore on the benefits of Pico de Gallo, but we'll save that for another episode. So in the Pico de Gallo, it's pretty simple. I'm using fresh ingredients here. We basically are going to use tomatoes. You want to get a nice ripe tomato, whether it's beefsteak, Roma, or you can even use some of the vine-ripened tomatoes. White onions. I like white onions because I think their flavor is a little softer than a yellow onion or a purple onion. Plus, of course, the color, as you can see, I mean, beautiful right here on the board. We're also going to use fresh jalapenos. Again, different sizes that you can get in your produce department. I've got some serrano peppers too. I just happened to see those at the market today and they looked really nice. Fresh lime juice, this is a big part of it. And cilantro. Cilantro looks like flat leaf parsley. It's got kind of a unique, some say a soapy taste to it, but it's got a little bit of spice, but we're going to use that as well. All right, let's get started. So, I love that song back there. The tomatoes, you can see I've got those diced up. And what we do, some simple ways to dice up your tomatoes. I've cut this one in half. Basically, you just make nice slices. We're going to work smart on this. We're not going to work hard. What I'm doing before I start to dice, I'm kind of cutting up and divvying up the tomato a little bit. Notice how I made those grips with my hand to keep my fingers out of my knife's way. And if you can see, it's coming out a nice dice here because of those slits that I made. I'm going to show it again on the white onion that we do here. Again, you want it to be a little bit rough chop. You know, we're not looking for perfection here. Pico de Gallo actually goes really, really well with chips. Obviously, I use it in the breakfast. This is great. We've got Super Bowl playoff games are coming up as well as the Super Bowl soon, so this is great for your sporting events. On the white onion, I'm going to do the same thing. I took a whole onion, cut off each end, split it in half, peeled off the skin. Now what I'm going to do is make those nice thin slits. Now what I'm doing is I'm going all the way through the onion, but I'm not going to the end of the onion. And then I'm going to make my cross-section cuts. This will help when I start to dice down. I'll get that nice square dice that we like. You can see the end pieces coming up there a little bit. So we're going to add that right into our bowl as well. These bowls, by the way, you can pick up at Bed Bath & Beyond. You can pick up at any Williams in Sonoma. We'll add in our onions that we've got here. Now the next step with the jalapenos. Got to be very careful when you're making this dish, guys. If you're cutting and working with these ingredients, don't touch anything else. Your eyes, your face, or ask me how I know, don't use the restroom without washing your hands, okay? You're touching volatile hot oils in the jalapenos, obviously in the onions, and in the cilantro, which we'll talk about. So if you don't want to be running quickly from the kitchen to another area of the home, don't do it. All right, on the jalapenos, we're going to take off the end. And what I like to do is just cut right down the center. If you're, and again, it's hard to tell until you actually eat the jalapenos. If you're concerned about the heat, that's where most of it's going to come from. Right in there, the seeds and stems. I leave it all in there. We're going to do what's called a Julienne cut. That's just a fancy French term for a thin, about 1/4 inch matchstick, if you will. Same thing, you'll notice that there's a lot of simplicity to the cuts that we're doing. I'm not sitting here making a big mess on my cutting board, just making nice dices here. I'm working smart with the vegetables. Okay, so far 3 ingredients. We've got some nice ripe tomatoes. I happened to get beefsteak today and vine ripened at the market. They were the freshest. I put in the fresh jalapeno. You can see I've got some here chopped up already. Now at this point, fresh lime juice. I'm going to take a half a lime. and really squeeze that in there. Now, unlike a lemon, you typically don't have to worry about seeds in here, but I want to get that around. Again, the lime's going to add the freshness to it. It's really going to brighten it up a bit. You can add salt, garlic powder, garlic salt if you'd like, or even fresh garlic. I like to keep things simple when I'm working out with this. All right, now the cilantro. What you do is you take your stems. Now the cilantro that I picked up at the market today was pretty sandy, pretty gritty. I have a salad spinner. You can also dip it into one of your bowls in water and just keep dunking it to get all that dirt and grit to pull out of it. If you do have the salad spinner like I have, you then want to spin it to get the excess moisture off. But basically what I'm doing is just picking the leaves off. You can see they come off fairly easy. You could use the stems. I don't like to. I see some cooks who do it, but you know, hey, this is the beautiful part about cooking. You can do whatever you'd like. It's your recipe. If you don't want to use cilantro, you don't have to. You can certainly use a little bit of Italian parsley or just regular parsley. And all you do with that is just get it in a nice bunched up little pile and run your knife right through there. You can see I'm going to mix that in. I already chopped some up. I'm going to take a nice spatula and just kind of work all that through. Now I've got a big batch here, but we're going to have some folks and friends over for the weekend. It's playoff weekend here. But you can see, I don't know if you can zoom in there, and see the wonderful colors. I can smell everything in here. The freshness of this is really coming about. This will last in your refrigerator about, I would say, 5 to 7 days. You don't want to keep it that long. But again, the fresh lime juice is going to help keep that freshness going, keep it from wilting. All right, let's give this bad boy a taste here and see what it tastes like. Oh my gosh. It's missing one thing. Nice Dos Equis beer. Well, Mark Garcia, chefmarkgarcia.com. Hope you enjoyed the fresh Pico de Gallo. We'll see you. We got some more recipes coming up for the 4-Hour Body by Tim Ferriss. Cheers.